Welcome, everyone. This is the Jenkins User Experience Special Interest Group. It's the 4th of December, 2024. Thanks for joining. So topics for today include Jenkins releases, Yahoo UI removal, Jenkins content security policy. Recent UI topics were on my list. Are there any other topics that you'd like to put into the meeting as key things for discussion?
Not sure, but maybe some of the UI projects for GSOC we can discuss, the project ideas at least.
Okay, yeah, all right. So Google Summer. So I can bring that in here. Here are ones that we had before. So how about we'll just paste that in, Chris?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Great. Okay, good. Any other topics we want to be sure we put on the list? Okay, then let's go ahead and first topic is just for your information. Jenkins 2.488 released Tuesday, and 2.479.2 released 26 November or so, if I remember right. Thanks, Chris Stern, for being the release lead. We've been watching the bug tracker very closely, and it's been quite smooth. Spring Security 6 seems to be working well. Please read the upgrade guide. Please follow it. There are some cases that need specific attention, like the LDAP plugin. Next release upcoming is 2.479.3. Thanks to Chris Stern for being release lead. The release checklist is linked there. Chris, GSOC project proposals. Do you want to give a brief overview there of the ideas,
Um,
etc.?
yeah, because like I think for the UI projects we have at least I'm not sure. It's like it can be one or it can be two. It depends. Because like one is for the documentation. For docs dot Jenkins style or for the versioned docs, we have a repo which is mirroring or is supposed to mirror what we have on Jenkins style. That's still ongoing because like we had a project in 2023, but it never really went into completion. So we might use the same project idea, but this time for the second half as a project idea for GSOC 2025. That's the first one. So
Okay.
the second one would be to revamp the stories part of the Jenkins style site. And I think I have admin access to that one, so that should be that should be taken care of. Except for the scope of project wouldn't be a big one; it would be a small one for that. Um, yeah, those are the two like related project ideas.
Great. Thank you. Anything else you want to highlight there?
We're looking for project mentors, but I'm not sure. I'm taking for granted like Bruno might be able to mentor or co-mentor if it's okay with it, if he has the time to do it.
Yeah, co-mentoring, why not? Thanks.
Okay, cool. So we're still looking out for some new mentors. I'll see if I can find any.
Great. All right. Anything else on Google Summer of Code? Bruno, anything from you related to Google Summer of Code?
No, Chris said it all.
Great. All right. Next topic then, Yahoo UI removal. Tim, maybe this is one for you to give the latest. I think I may be out of date on, we don't have a pull request to Jenkins core yet, but what's your sense of where we're at with Yahoo UI removal? Still work to do on some plugin releases?
Nope, it's 100% waiting for review on the search command palettes, which we've been trying to get review on for months and just stuck.
So we've waiting for review on the command palette pull request. Thanks. Okay, that has been waiting. All right.
It's the only thing remaining before we can remove it from core. I've got work locally to remove it from core, but it's pretty trivial. yeah, if it's possible for you to see if we can get that review finished, that'd be great.
Yeah. Now, part of me is I'm hesitant. I'm a little hesitant right now because of Yahoo UI removal's impact on the enterprise product that's behind my back, that I may beg for this one to wait until after we choose the next LTS baseline. I apologize for that, but would you be okay if I said, hey, let's not have it arrive in the February LTS?
I mean, we can leave the feature we can leave it feature flagged in core, so the open source one can have the feature flag defaulted to removed. So we can leave the code in there, but change the feature flag. That's the conservative option. I don't shouldn't affect, because then you can just change the default in the commercial product.
Okay, let me bring that back to my the players that I have to deal with on the commercial product. Thank you. That's good.
But yeah, if you can get the review on the PR, that would be appreciated. It's just been sitting for months with nothing outstanding.
Right. Great. Thanks. Okay. Anything else on that one?
No, I think all the plugins that have got over 2,000 have been released with changes. There's probably some deprecation warnings where there was a compatibility change added, but because the compatibility is there, it's not a blocker. They can be updated as and when they want to.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, I think all of the popular plugins have been updated.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next topic then was the content security policy project. So this one, we've got and Bruno, if you want, do you want to start the description? You okay if I attempt my description? What's your preference?
You will do better than I do, so please do so.
Okay, so we've got a 3-month project that Alpha Omega has funded to improve the content security policy compliance in Jenkins Core and Jenkins plugins. And it's gone very, very well. However, the discovery process has shown that there are literally hundreds of plugins that would need to be updated. And that's led to a discussion amongst inside the project team. What can we do to do this deployment without having to upgrade hundreds of plugins while getting benefit to users as soon as possible? So what Basil had suggested was first talking about what we've got today. Today, when we do a migration, we prepare all the plugins, track them in a sheet, release them all, flip the switch in a weekly, and add an escape hatch if we need to, right? That's how we've done it. And that's worked, but with hundreds of plugins to change, and it's truly 10x more than the Yahoo UI changes. It's the spreadsheet has like 800 rows in it. So it's terrifying how big it is. So Yaroslav, one of the project team members, said, hey, we could put a list of CSP compliant plugins centrally and consult that. And if they have only CSP compliant plugins, enable it. Basil took it one step further and suggested, hey, what if we looked for CSP violation reports, and if there was a period of time that they didn't have any, we raised an admin monitor that suggested, why don't you enable restrictive CSP on your instance? The idea being that way we get it to more people, and the people who are only using plugins that are CSP compliant get them immediately. They get it sooner, and immediately is always a creative thing. They get it sooner. The concept is this would allow a more incremental arrival of the change so that people who are ready for it can turn it on. The inverse of that, if we were to detect a CSP violation, we could suggest they disable restrictive CSP so that they don't lose functionality. Comments, insights, concerns? Okay, great. Well, so the work is going to continue. There's an awful lot of things that'll have to happen there. right now, the idea is one of the fundamental things that seems to be generally agreed in the project team is this will be a Jenkins core feature, not a CSP plugin in its final implementation. So we'll use the plugin for now, and the plugin lets us do quick diagnosis, etc. But ultimately, we think it belongs in CSP, in Jenkins core.
Makes sense.
Uh,
You're not going to get any benefit if you don't put it in core because everyone will have to install this plugin.
Right. That was the fear, actually, was if we leave it as a plugin, then we have to get plugin adoption. And plugin adoption is, yeah, that's a much bigger deal. Good. All right. So that's going to continue. We'll be asking Alpha Omega to fund an additional project phase for 2025. And we hope that we'll be able to have that funded project phase implementing some of these ideas during 2025, in addition to making progress on the long tail of plugins. If you look at the sheet is quite impressive how much progress has been made. It's delightful to see that, okay, things are just moving forward very nicely. Relatively few plugins in the high use that don't have a fix. And we have to get down below 10,000 before we start seeing anybody who doesn't have it, and it just keeps improving from there. So thanks to Yaroslav, thanks to Shlomo Dahan, thanks to Google Summer of Code for tutoring Shlomo, finding him for us. That was
Indeed.
great. All right. Any other questions on CSP? Okay, the next topic was recent UI topics. So command palette for search. Tim, you noted that we need to get a final review of this and get it into the product. Then keyboard shortcut tooltips. Is this one similarly that we'll still need additional review?
Yeah,
assume
ideally
so.
that one gets reviewed first because command palette builds on top of it, and it's a very small
okay.
one.
Okay,
So we just really need some help with review.
got it.
Both Jan and I have got a number of outstanding PRs that are getting no review at all.
Okay, all right. Okay, next then. So command palette for search. So GZ content viewing. This one, I think the key comment was it really needs to be done differently than what the implementer has suggested. Have I understood correctly there, Tim?
It's low priority anyway.
Right. Okay, good. All right. And then one on margins for help text and headers. This one, I think, is just looking for,
This I fixed at the PR, it just needs review.
okay, all right. So, okay, so needs review since Tim made fixes to improve the PR.
Mhm.
Great. Thank you. Any other items that you'd like to highlight, Tim, or that others would like to be sure we discuss?
Yeah, there's a couple. Hoping Jan would make it, but he's traveling at the moment, so he was hoping to make it, but looks like he hasn't been able to join. So the first one, if you open up the recent releases of the Azure VM Agents plugin.
Okay, just a minute. Let me get there. So plugins, Azure VM Agents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, recent releases.
And if you go to the second latest one, and if you just go to the pull request.
Okay, so to this one, 591.
Yep. So in that one, I recently implemented a nice UX improvement to allow you to copy agent templates. So these people quite often have a few slightly different ones with a lot of commonality between them. So this kind of allows them to copy copy them and then tweak them rather than having to create them from scratch each time if they're using the UI.
Nice. Okay, so this is like what I do when I copy a Jenkins job. It gives me the same thing, and then I start editing it in the UI to make the minor tweaks that I need.
Yep. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, it's mostly using the built-in components, but a couple of tweaks because the core feature for this really expects that it's for selecting descriptors of different types, and because there's not a descriptor here, the standard one doesn't work. And then the other change was that the default one assumes that you want to use an autocomplete, so you have to type to find them, but the templates, you're not going to have very many of them, so there's no point making you type to find them. So it uses the combo box instead, where you click in it and it brings up all of them. It's a much nicer user experience.
So the idea here is that there aren't thousands of agent templates that they would be using. There's no, it's a very small number of agent templates.
Yeah, so as soon as they go in there, the full list comes up.
Great.
Which would kind of make sense for, I think, most of the copy. I think, well, maybe not most, but some of like the clouds have it as well, and it's a bit silly, I think, to make people type when there's not going to be very many of them. It makes sense for jobs and maybe views, but yeah, so it's a nice little wee improvement there.
Okay, and so that one, how would others use that? So simpler UI by presenting a list without requiring typing.
Yeah, so Jan and I have had a bit of chat over recent days. If there's a design library issue that we raised, just to try and unify the UI a bit of the autocomplete and combo box, and just make a bit more sense of why there's two of them. And so yeah, we'd like to at some point kind of simplify that, and then potentially you could have a flag to switch between the two.
Okay, so the back to that picture. So it was, in this case, I can still type, but I get or have I misunderstood? No,
Yeah, you can still type.
I can still type, but it's not requiring that I type in order to get a subset list. It presents the list immediately. Great.
Yeah.
And the idea then is eventually this might end up in the design library as a guidance for these kind of auto-completion.
So the auto-completion is already in there, so that's the combo box component it's using.
Okay.
Which I recently revamped in one of the last few versions from the old component to the kind of new style. So there's another PR on Azure VM agents as well, which is blocked. It needs review and a core PR. But if you go to autocomplete for VM sizes, so currently there's something close to about 1,000 VM sizes that you need to select from when you're choosing. So very painful to find the right one that you want, especially because they're all prefixed by, well, 90% of them are prefixed by standard. So you'd have to type standard underscore before you could even type for select filtering. So yeah, it's not very nice. So I've implemented I think autocomplete to filter them as you type. But there is a bug in Jenkins core, which has been open for the bug was raised about eight to 10 years ago, where autocomplete doesn't allow you to pass query parameters. And this needs query parameters to access the credentials. So I've implemented support for that in Jenkins core. A few other kind of like limitations. So autocomplete, you can't pass different values and display names. So you can't, I'd like to be able to provide more information here. Things like how many CPUs they have, how much memory they provide, that sort of information, without it appearing in the actual value. So I kind of fit some of those requirements into that design library issue. Because yeah, it could certainly be nicer. But yeah, I mean this works. Yeah, so the reason I wanted to use, so the APIs are a bit limited. It's a bit the differences between like autocomplete and combo box. Combo box is just uses filtering that's in Jenkins core, whereas autocomplete, every time the user types, you get sent the value and you control the search, so you get full control over it. Otherwise, I would use combo box in this case. In combo box, query parameters work, but autocomplete they don't. But I don't with the autocomplete, I don't want people to have to type standard underscore. As if you see all of that prefix every time. So I want to do like a contained search, but I can't do that with the default core. So I need to take control of the search, which I can't do with combo box at the moment. There's just a
So-
few just limitations and
Sorry, continue. Excuse my interrupting.
no, that's it pretty much.
So the autocomplete does not have query parameters, but the combo box also doesn't give you, so you're sort of stuck until either autocomplete supports parameters, or is there a way to change combo box to do what you need, or it's just better to make autocomplete take parameters?
Yeah, so I've done a PR to Jenkins core, which adds support to autocomplete adding parameters.
Okay,
And that's again stuck waiting review.
got it. All right. So here,
But yeah, so at the moment, there's just no way right now for me to have something nice. I could implement combo box without having control of the filtering, but it's not very nice because you have to type standard underscore the whole thing out. So it's I
right,
guess
okay.
it's better, but it's not great.
So this one is the one that needs the autocomplete accept parameters, and I bet
Yeah,
there's a reference to that pull request
at the top. Yeah.
requires there. It is, yes, perfect. Okay, thank you. So 9959. Great, thank you.
So yeah, again, any help that if anyone can review these PRs or if they can get someone else to review them, that would be appreciated.
Right,
As
okay.
there's nothing outstanding on any of these PRs except for that gzip one. But
Well, and that's that. So let me, yeah, let's put this higher on the list so that I can have discussions, etc. Okay. Great, thank you.
cool. So apart from that, so this is something that Jan has been working on, but I'll give a brief intro. If you go to the idea stapler plugin,
So tell me again, the idea stapler plugin?
yeah, so the IntelliJ stapler plugin, but it's called idea stapler plugin. It's not
Oh, this is in the, I need to go to the Jenkins,
GitHub, yeah.
right, okay, so
So
you said
idea dash stapler dash plugin.
okay, got it.
If you go to pull requests,
Uh-huh.
and so there's two of them. This if you either of them is fine to go to, and there's a video there, so so Jan's video can stand for itself.
Oh, nice. Okay. So the idea is when I'm inside the IDE, I now get,
Better, much better auto completion. So you might have noticed at the beginning there that layout wasn't in the jelly file. So you see how in the first line, J jelly, if you go back to the beginning, or if you restart the video,
oh, okay, hang on. Restart the video.
just watch the namespaces.
Ah, okay, right.
So it's added the lib layout for you.
Oh, so it adjusted the jelly tag, the second line in the file to include that. Oh, and there it does it again. Okay, nice.
Yeah. And the other thing, so there's a bug that's been really annoying for a long time. If you type something like F colon, and then if you select text box from there, it will just add F colon F colon. So if you
Oh,
there's a good example, if you scroll down, maybe up to the top,
okay.
if there don't prepend namespace, if it already exists, if you click that issue, and then the expected results and actual results. So if you look at the actual
Right.
results, so expected that you get text box, but actually you get F colon currently. So that fixes that really annoying bug.
Okay.
So if you go back to the PR, so what this does, searches your current project and identifies every namespace that you are using. So it goes through all of your Jelly files, and every namespace that is in your project, it will find, and then it will list all of the available Jelly tags inside of that namespace. So if you're already using if you're using something from like SCM API and you've used that once, then it will be discoverable without you adding it to this file. It's got a number of them hard-coded into the plugin as well, so that even if you haven't used it in your project yet, these core ones, and I think they're all Jenkins core and Jelly ones, if you haven't used them yet, it will still have them. So if you haven't used something from the Hudson tag lib, which isn't used as much, it will still be available in your autocomplete without you ever using it before.
So this makes the experience inside IntelliJ dramatically better, because all right, now it's offering me suggestions on Jelly tags without me having to go research them, without, which tag do I need? How do I do it? Okay, thanks.
Yep. So it'll also find your local tag libs inside of your repo as well. So so not local, but any tag libs inside of your folder, and not inside of your plugin, those will be found as well. It doesn't support local tag libs, which are ones that are inside the same file. It was already not supported in the IDEA plugin, and Jan's tried a bit for it, but he hasn't managed to make it work. But it's not, they're used very little. What else? There was one other thing. Oh yeah, the other thing there's it's that last thing in that list is if there's required attributes, they will be automatically added as well. So if you take I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but a number of plugins a number of tags will have required attributes configured,
Right.
and they'll just be automatically injected. So if it's got a required attribute on field, it'll come up with field equals quotes and then tell you to fill them in. And it already worked before, I think, but if your tag has a invoke body inside of if the custom Jelly tag has invoke body inside of it, it will create two XML fields, like an opening and a closing tag. Otherwise, it'll just do an auto closed XML tag.
Nice. Okay, so it handles the XML formatting as well.
Yep. So basically, just a really nice user experience improvement. I think it's pretty much ready. Just a couple of, I think I've managed to find a few edge cases when testing it. But nothing critical. It does load. There's one thing where when it's searching for those tag libs, it runs that on every key press. Doesn't seem noticeable in performance, but it would be nice to cache that a bit so that it's not running that on every key press. But it's not noticeable as you're typing. You don't actually notice it, but it seems a bit silly to load that on every time you're pressing something. But I think Jan had problems with having multiple IntelliJs open. It got a bit weird before, but yeah. So that's one of them. It's a nice one. And if you go up back to pull requests, there's another one that's pretty close as well. Add Jenkins symbol autocomplete.
So this one gives me access to pictures.
Yep. So if you're using, so basically it's when you're inside of the L icon tag, you can autocomplete all of the available symbols.
And now it's looking at, okay, I see ion icons in the example and design library. Does it also look at things like OSS symbols, or how does it decide which set of plugins to present to me? This looks great.
Yep, let's just scroll down a little bit. So
okay, project core and ion icons. Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense. All right.
Yeah, so it's also, and I think the IntelliJ plugin has ionicons added as a dependency, so it can load all of those. So yeah, I think it can find them inside of your plugin, I think. And yeah, it loads them from core. Yeah, we're trying to load the SVGs, but we're having problems with the class loader. We had it working before with explicitly listing all of the core ones. So we might just move back to that as the core symbols change very little.
Right.
Basically, the class loader in IntelliJ is not the same as in Jenkins, and unfortunately we put all the symbols in the same directory layout. It's like images, symbols, whereas like in taglibs you have people put their plugin name in normally for the non-core ones. So unfortunately we can't tell the difference between core and plugins. We just get a big list from the class loader. But yeah, so you just look on the left, those are icons. We're actually loading the symbols and displaying them in IntelliJ.
So this looks great. Now, okay, so this one's still in draft, so I assume that Jan's still working at it, still trying to, but and Duemir here is the maintainer of this, right? Dennis is the maintainer of the integration, so we've got feedback started. Good.
Yeah, Dennis has been really quick on stuff. We also like integrated Spotless on this as well a few days ago, so that the formatting is consistent.
Ah, okay, Spotless in the plugin or allowing Spotless to be invoked easily?
Just in the plugin itself.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thanks very much, Tim, and thanks to Jan. Anything else you want to highlight on IntelliJ?
No, I think if you've got any requests, things that aren't working well, just have open an issue looking at them. We recently implemented the exception analyzer so that you can just report issues with the plugin directly to the like marketplace, so you don't have to file an issue. We're trialing that out a little bit, although I did submit one and it didn't appear, so we're not 100% sure it's fully working. But so that's for exceptions. But yeah, any feature request would be great on things that we can do to make the user experience better. And because Jelly's a very weird language, and it would be great to have tighter integration between the Jelly views and the descriptors and files behind it.
Right. Okay, so remove, no, what was it? Description was, oh, yes. Revamp, Jelly, autocomplete suggestions. Excuse me while I just capture the link here. And then the
And yeah,
other
just
was, go ahead.
test them out as well. They're really easy to run. Just you can just clone the repo, check out the pull request, and then just run /gradle w run IDE, and it will open an IntelliJ up for you with the branch, and then it's really simple to try out if you want to try out the autocomplete. To take just however long it takes you to download the IDE, basically. So you can be testing it in a minute or two.
Good, thank you. So back to that, you said that I could actually test this in IntelliJ just by checking out this pull request and then running right from it.
And then just run but just running a little Gradle command, run IDE, I think it is.
Great.
I want to try out too.
Excellent. Thank you. Tim, anything else you wanted to highlight there?
No, I think that's it. But yeah, just if anyone can review the PRs, much appreciated.
Right. So thank you. I'll do my best to encourage reviews. It's been a busy season with spring security, etc. Things are getting a little quieter now that the holidays are coming. Thanks.
Can I ask a question? So I
Sure.
just discovered I have the rights to review PodQuest and the core. Is it okay if I start reviewing some of them?
Yes,
It
please.
is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll try my best though. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we want to be very careful that we don't regress things in core, but
Okay.
more reviewers is good. Absolutely, more reviewers is good.
Yeah, I'll test out everything. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Any other topics we should review today?
There's one more upcoming one as well. It's probably not as well developed, but if you go to the design library plugin,
Okay. Let's go look at it. And
yeah, so Jana's working on a revamp of it for consistency. So yeah, just a heads up that that's coming. It'll change a few things and kind of restructure things a little bit.
so, so the revamp is documentation improvements, or is this okay? All right. So
yeah, it's documentation, a bit of layout, and across I think it touches pretty much all. It's kind of adding in some of the new features that have came in that kind of moved into Jenkins core, like descriptions for sections. So to try and move away a little bit from just put everything into help into just descriptions and sections, so people don't need help to understand. Sometimes use help for the detail, but make the forms simple and easy to understand, and trying to lift some of that up into. So a lot of it there is bringing those descriptions in.
So in this, so the description appears then on the UI for the user?
Yeah, so it's inside of each if section. So when you divide the UI up into sections, there'll be a description underneath the heading. To just have a bit of explainer text that's displayed nicely.
So is this would then fit in as an example with the categorization of user properties on the Jenkins user? Is that where this would appear, or no, I'm misunderstanding?
So I think it was added into a few places in Jenkins core. I think user properties configuration, there was some added. I think, yeah, if you go,
Okay, so I'm just going to bring up a Jenkins.
yeah,
So
if you go to your user property and just go to configure.
Okay,
It's
so
your account, I think, for configure.
okay.
So if you look underneath full name, that's how we started using description a little bit.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's those ones.
So I don't, this is, I add the text here so that I don't have to click a question
Yeah.
mark icon to get help.
So a lot of the information was inside of help text before.
Right. Okay. Got it. Thank you. So
Yeah, I think it's added into view and maybe job page. So added into a few places. But yeah, so that's pulling some of that into the design library. But I think there's a bunch of other changes. I haven't looked at it too carefully, but that will be coming soon.
okay. Good. All right. Thanks. Anything else you wanted to highlight?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, I saw another pull request on the design library that, oh, okay, this was coming, this is a draft from Thor Sherla. You got it. Okay. All right. Thanks. Anyone else have other topics? All right. Thanks very much for joining us today. That's great. And we'll stop the recording now. Thanks very much.
Thank you.